everything comes to an end, except the Voyager mission. Well, you might think that because, after all, the identical twin probes have been flying through space for almost 50 years now. In the course of this, they have even ventured into the mysterious world of interstellar space. The fact that the most remote outposts of humanity are still operational today is mainly thanks to a strict power-saving plan implemented by NASA, which enables the ancient probes to remain active despite their dwindling energy supplies. However, the full Voyager truth is that the probes have repeatedly attracted attention with serious technical problems, and have sometimes even sent messages to Earth that leave researchers completely baffled. But what has really happened in the vast expanse of space? Have we finally received an answer to the golden records? Or have Voyager 1 and 2 possibly even been hijacked by aliens? 129.7 billion miles. This is the incredible distance that now lies between Voyager 2 and the Sun, and it's only surpassed by that of another man-made object. In fact, Voyager 1 has already put 24.8 billion kilometers between itself and our source of warmth and life since its launch in September 1977, which is all the more astounding when we remember that the mission was not actually designed to set such impressive records. In truth, what ultimately became NASA's greatest success story initially only had the goal of examining the outer planets of the solar system, which were still largely unexplored at the time. The originally predicted lifespan of the probes was just 5 years. But after Voyager 1 and 2 had collected the first, and in some cases, unique images of Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, and gathered a wealth of valuable data, NASA decided to extend the mission and let the probe duo fly on into interstellar space. No sooner said than done. While Voyager 1 reached the outer regions of the solar system in 2012, its sister entered this mysterious cosmic world 6 years later. It's important to keep in mind that, as children of their time, the old probes are still at the technological level of the 1970s. In plain language, this means that our everyday smartphones have a memory capacity that is 1,000,000 times greater than that of the dusty space pioneers. The scientific mission data is still stored on magnetic tapes with a storage capacity of 536 megabits, and the transmission rates of our modern mobile phone connections are almost 40,000 times higher than those of the Voyager probes. How the life of the Voyager probes is being extended. To say that Voyager 1 and 2 are technically robust despite everything would probably be an understatement. But to tell the whole truth, the spacecraft are now showing signs of weakness and are slowly but surely running out of juice. More specifically, the energy supply of their thermoelectric generators is running low, and 4 watts of power are lost every year. To keep the probes active for as long as possible despite this, NASA has been implementing strict power-saving measures for some time now. For example, all non-essential systems were deactivated years ago. A backup system followed in 2023, and a plasma sensor from Voyager 2 in 2024. Now, the renowned space agency has once again been forced to declare war on the growing energy shortage. Specifically, on February 25th, NASA shut down the cosmic ray subsystem on Voyager 1. This instrument is composed of 3 telescopes that capture the energy and flux density of high-energy protons from the Milky Way and the Sun. It was the data from this very instrument that told experts in 2012 that Voyager 1 had crossed the heliosphere, and thus the protective magnetic bubble of our host star. Depending on when you watch this video, a comparable step will be, or has been, taken with Voyager 2, which will lose an active sensor for low-energy charged particles on March 24th. This primarily analyzes the less energetic particles of the cosmic radiation and the magnetosphere of the Sun and the Milky Way. But how many operational instruments will ultimately remain on board the probes? Well, it's becoming increasingly manageable. Of the original 10 instruments, only 3 remain on Voyager 1: the plasma wave subsystem, the magnetometer, and the sensor for low-energy charged particles, which is scheduled to be shut down next year. Voyager 2 still has its magnetic field sensor, plasma waveform instrument, and cosmic ray subsystem, although the latter is also scheduled to be deactivated in 2026. But unless something unexpected happens, these measures will allow the probes to remain operational into the 2030s, even if they will then probably only have one active instrument each. According to experts, the oldies have long since fulfilled their duty anyway, and every bit of additional data is just another valuable bonus for space research. You never know. On the one hand, Voyager project scientist Linda Spilker emphasizes that any day could be the last Voyager day. But on the other hand, it's possible that this very day will still hold a surprising interstellar discovery. And it is now undisputed that the ancient probes are indeed capable of one or two surprises. After all, a few years ago, Voyager 1 suddenly began sending some very strange signals to Earth. Signals the experts simply couldn't make sense of, and which immediately fueled the wildest alien speculation on the internet. The confusing messages from Voyager 1. Voyager 1 and 2 are not traveling alone. As is well known, both probes were equipped with the Voyager Golden Records before their launch. In other words, data plates with image and audio information containing fundamental knowledge about Earth and its inhabitants. These were designed by a team led by astronomer Carl Sagan. The decision to make contact with other civilizations was not met with universal approval among the ranks of scientists. On the contrary, researchers like Stephen Hawking warned that such messages could not only end in a peaceful exchange, but also in our own destruction. After all, no one can say who will actually get their hands on the Voyager Golden Records, or rather, into the slippery alien tentacles, should the worst happen. Assuming this is a technologically advanced, but hostile species that sees Earth only as a source of raw materials to plunder, wouldn't it be easy for them to use the information served up on a silver platter to prepare a devastating invasion? Well, who knows? But the bottom line is, we've sent the message irrevocably, and we must live with the unimagined consequences. In line with this, a report made the rounds in 2022 that immediately set off alarm bells for many users. After all, Voyager 1 started sending a strange jumble of data to Earth out of nowhere. Data that simply didn't make sense. But what did that mean? Had the probe actually been intercepted and reprogrammed by aggressive aliens? Is it now on its way back to Earth to deliver a catastrophic declaration of war? Or was the matter ultimately not quite as dramatic as feared? Even leaving intergalactic wars aside, it is extremely time-consuming to get in touch with the probes. Before a signal has bridged the immense distance, it takes almost 20 hours for Voyager 2, and as much as 23 hours for Voyager 1. In other words, almost 2 days pass before a message is sent to Voyager 1 and a reply is received. For the communication to succeed at all, the main antenna of the spacecraft must always be pointed exactly toward the Earth, because only in this way is two-way data transfer still possible. But what do you do when the previously groundbreaking and revealing data from interstellar space suddenly gives way to nonsensical gibberish? When Voyager 1 transmits signals that can no longer be read, or when it indicates that it's at a position that simply cannot correspond to reality? Well, that was exactly the challenge NASA experts faced at the time. Unsurprisingly, their troubleshooting was not based on the influence of an extraterrestrial force, but rather approached from a more technical standpoint. Specifically, the researchers turned their attention to the Attitude Articulation and Control System, AACS, in view of the chaotic telemetry data. And lo and behold, the information from that particular system initially indicated a system failure. What made the situation even more confusing, however, was that Voyager 1 was working perfectly otherwise. It transmitted data from its scientific instruments, as usual, and continued to respond to Earth commands. So, could it be that the main antenna was no longer pointing exactly at Earth? That was quickly ruled out, because at least the signal strength of the radio connection remained high. Many weeks, and no doubt many frayed nerves, later, NASA scientists finally managed to get to the bottom of the data confusion. The Attitude Control System had mistakenly tried to send the telemetry data via an onboard computer that had long since stopped working. As a result, the transmitted information only arrived at our end as a jumbled mess of data that simply didn't make sense. However, it remains unclear why the AACS sent the data to the wrong computer. Despite this, NASA engineers managed to fix the problem by commanding Voyager 1 to use the Deep Space Network's radio antennas to retransmit the data to the correct, still intact onboard computer. And now, you're welcome to click on the correct, still intact subscribe button. Just click the thumbs up and subscribe to never miss a new video from us again. We'll see you soon.